So, playing our game for the first time for many a month. Just not been able to connect with people to get games in of bolt action. So here we are today. We're going to play a Warlord GT practice. Playing against Colin with his Japanese, and I'll put the list up. And I'm using my Home Defence Force for the British, 1940s. So we're playing envelopment, and Colin won the roll-off, and he wants to be the attacker, and I'm going to be the defender. So I've got 17 units, and I've placed down the ones that are going to be on the table so far. I have got a number of forward deploying units, so we'll put those down very shortly. But envelopment is Colin's got to get his units off the board. I think it's 2 points for each unit, and I've got to try and stop them. And I get 1 point for each kill. So we'll see how we go. There is a preparatory bombardment if Colin rolls 2 or more. It's Colin's army. From the top left you've got the Yigo, which is light howitzer tank. I think it's 7 armour with a machine gun. And then he's got 2 armoured cars. The Quantung list allows you to take multiple armoured cars, so he's got 2 of those. Got a little truck, a medium howitzer, light anti-tank gun. Again, the list allows you to take those. He's got 3 veteran units, 1 engineer unit with flamethrower, a flamethrower team, a scout team, medium mortar team, and a veteran officer. That's his army. Adds up to 1250 points, and it's the, as we say, the Quantung 1937 to 39, I think, army list from the theatre book, and it allows you to take some upgrades to it. So that's what I'm facing tonight on an envelopment, and with Colin being the attacker, it's going to be a little troublesome, I think. The list I'm taking is based on the Dad's Army list from the British Army book, and you can see here I've got the officer and his wife, that's second lieutenant. I've got a 10-man inexperienced unit, which is my home guard unit, using the Dad's Army figures. I've got an 8-man regular unit. I've then got 2 auxiliary units. These I'm bringing in as the auxiliary units were secreted around the country, and they were trained up as commandos and snipers and saboteurs. So I've got 2 units of those. They forward deploy, which is quite good. There's 6 men in each, and they're the ones there. You can see the bad Squiddo land army with shotguns, and some of the footsore, I think, a very civil British, very Civil War figures there. And then I've got an 8-man naval unit. I've got a little staff car to move them. I've got a medium mortar. I've got a Lanchester, but that will be a Rolls Royce, and then a truck. I've got a 25-pounder. I've got an A9, the cruiser tanks there standing in for it. I've got a forward observer, and I've got a sniper team. And I've got a captain and his Bob the Scout. So that's my list of 1250 points. So they're the defenders, and we'll see how it goes. So the preliminary bombardment, let's have a look what happened. So we've got 1 pin on our auxiliary land girls, and we've got no pins on the officer and his wife. The observer took 1 pin. The 25-pounder took 2 pins. The unit here took 2 pins. Sniper took 2 pins, which was that was quite harsh. The medium machine gun did take a hit, but Colin rolled a 1 for the casualty, so nothing happened there. But they did get 3 pins. 1 pin on the mortar, 1 pin on the 25-pounder spotter, and another hit on the auxiliary unit that killed 1 and give them 3 pins. So not too bad. Colin was forced with his deploys, because they deploy after the defenders. So he's got his spotter behind the house there, his scout unit over on that far side, another scout unit behind the house.
Yeah, I've only got 1 scout.
Alright, just 1 scout unit. So yeah, and we're going to go into turn 1 now. So into turn 1, and the British have struggled a little bit here. Tried to operate the 25 pounder to rally them, and failed the test, and they went down, even with the little officer next to them. So they failed their test. We did rally the home guard, which was quite useful. The mortar tried to fire on one pin and went down. Sniper tried to rally and failed its leadership test and went down. Still got these ones on ambush, so that was the only order I can give them. But at the end of the turn, what I'll move to them down is down. So that wasn't so good. I did get to fire with the auxiliaries here as the scout team that's behind the wall there, and killed one and put one pin on them, so that wasn't so bad. But as you can see, the Japanese now have come on in mass. So we've got 2 units and a flamethrower on that side with the tank and the 2-man scout team left. Medium howitzer. Because my 25 pounder was out of action, he's advanced his armoured car right up fast, and managed to kill 2, even with the gun shield on the 25 pounder, which was very sad. Back over there, we've got a small anti-tank gun that's come on, and another infantry squad, a truck with an infantry squad. Oh, that's getting a bit dark over there. Let's see if we can lighten up a bit. Yep, and a mortar. So yeah, all coming on. So we're going to go into turn 2. This envelopment's going to be a bit tricky. So, end of turn 2, and the Japanese are romping across the table. Armoured car has sort of got free range because I had to rally my 25 pounder, which I did, but he's only got 1 man left. Over here, I did get the British artillery observer to land a spot, and the Japanese have starburst, but it will be a 2d6 circle from radius from that spot, and we'll see if we can get anything at the beginning of turn 3. So these Japanese are starbursting out and running along, and I did bring on my tank to fire at the armoured car and missed, which was all good stuff, as it normally does. This unit of 3 is... This unit of 3 is in actual fact a stand-in for a blacker bombard, which is on order. So we're hoping to get that one through the post fairly soon. These went down because Colin brought out his little IGO to take a shot, and he machine gunned these, and I put them down. And he also machine gunned them with the armoured car, but because they were down, they only lost 1 land girl. So they're still there, but unfortunately these troops are running up, and I'm not sure I'm going to do very much with them next turn. I think I've got to try and extricate them very rapidly. So over here it was a bit of a cat and mouse who would disembus first, or debus first, and Colin got the drop. And over here the Japanese engineers jumped out, and he's got a flamethrower in that team, and he used a flamethrower on the poor old Lanchester and blew it up, which was a bit sad. I had brought my truck on first, but the dice came out for the Japanese to get out first. But I did put the naval troops who were in the truck out. They did hit the truck, a bit too late. Didn't blow it up, just put a pin on it, sadly. Over here the mortar took a shot at the IGO, missed, but it is sort of aiming at him. He may move it. Colin got a lucky 6 for his mortar on the first shot and killed the snipers, which was a bit of a shame. And we've brought our regular troops on over here to bolster this flank. And unfortunately my auxiliary units, although they slowed them up by making Colin's troops sort of deploy further back, he didn't have very many scouting units, so they are possibly likely to die valiantly against the Japanese charge next turn. So that's end of turn 2. We're going into turn 3 to see what our artillery the artillery strike comes in. So start of turn 3, and we did the bombardment coming in. It came in, and there was only 2 units. I rolled a 7, and there's only 2 units in that 7-inch diameter, which was the veteran infantry unit and the Yamago. Didn't get any direct hits on them, but put 2 pins on both units. So into turn 3. Into turn 3, and the Japanese are en masse down the flank. Tried to take out the ones in the middle, but was not so good. Fired with the Navy guys, and also with the machine gun, which is in the woods. You can just see it there. There's 3 men of the machine gun team, but they didn't whittle them down enough, and then the rest of them have run around the side. Part of a bonus, the flamethrower team in there did try to take out these, but only rolled 1 hit, so did kill them, but I managed, even on 4 pins, to survive, and then they took another shot and took a 5th pin. So that was very lucky to keep them alive. The captain is coming up to bolster them. Had to move the mortar, the 25-pounder spotter, out of the way, so that the machine gun could possibly fire next turn at the unit that's behind the house as they come round. We don't know that's a possibility. We'll put an ambush, but it's going to be dependent on the dice. The home guard have rushed up here to try and get any shots in on that unit there. I moved the truck across to the middle to block the other truck, so I'm not going to give it an easy route off. So there's that chance over there. Over here, let's move some bits out of the way. My proxying blacker bombard team did kill 2 of the Japanese after the Japanese wiped out the land girls. We killed 2 and put 2 pins on.
Done a bit of rape and pillage,
but yeah, but they won't survive. Well, they will survive because they're fanatic Japanese, so they'll just run forward. Flamethrower team is advancing up, and the scout team is behind the wall here, and another Japanese unit running off. The British tank did take out the armoured car, which was a bonus, but missed the infantry. So into turn 4, so we'll see how far we can get with the Japanese running off.
Right.
Into turn 4, and the Japanese are racing down. Another tank dies to a flamethrower team. Did wipe that one out. I didn't kill enough, although I had 15 shots at the Japanese veterans. I only managed to kill 2, which was very sad. So they are getting poised to be off the edge of the table. However, I have got on ambush my artillery piece, so it may do some good. My officer and his wife took a shot at the scout team and sadly missed them. 3 shots hit, but no 5s to kill. So, where are we going? Back over to here. The sailors have immobilised the truck, which is quite useful, so that stops that one. I lost Captain Melchett to a 5 from the light anti-tank on the other side of the table, and then Colin rolled 2 6s to kill them, which was very sad. I've moved up the home guard to try and take on some people, but Colin countered with his armoured car and killed 2 of the home guard. The mortar's got no targets. I tried to activate this unit with the captain, but failed sadly by 1, even with his +3. And my machine gun, medium machine gun in the woods, didn't take out another Japanese of that unit of 3. So Colin's got 1 unit off so far, and he's poised with his unit on the edge and the officer unit. But he did lose his flamethrower from the engineers this turn? Last turn.
Last turn.
So into turn 5, and I think the Japanese are going to be off the board, and I don't think I can actually take a win from this at all. So we call it a game here. So doing the points, we're at I think it was end of turn 5, wasn't it?
Yeah, turn 5.
Each unit in my deployment zone scored 2 points, so there are 4 units, so we've added up 8 points. On the far side, let's go fairly slowly. Colin got 4 Japanese units off this edge, though they were worth 3 points, so that's 8 plus 12.
20, yeah.
So 20. And sadly, killed 2, 4, 6, 7 of my units. So that's 27?
Yeah.
27 points, and I managed to kill 1.
So
that was a pretty comprehensive victory to the Japanese.
I think you get 2 points.
So an interesting game. I wasn't too perturbed with the result, and I'll go through a couple of factors why. The army seems quite good. It certainly stopped the forward deploying of Collins from the outset with my 2 units of forward deploying troops. They are counted as native irregulars from one of the books. I can't remember which one it was. It's one of the theatres selectors that you can choose. I did think about putting a flamethrower team in, but the British didn't have them until 42, 43, so that sort of scuppered my plans a little bit. But never mind, there you go, can't have everything. Yeah, problems that you have when you set up games and you do random selection, and certainly for this one, with the tablecloth which we used, it was the one with so many roads. So obviously with vehicles, and if there's no blockades, they can just run through it. And that was our problem. We haven't played for ages, so we just didn't think about those things, and it certainly played out to Colin's advantage to be able to move his troops up so quickly on the vehicles. And the luck of the dice, really, when being pulled out, that he was able to get his dice first, which sort of then negated the actions that I could take. However, interesting game, fun game still. Enjoyed it, and it was nice to get my Dad's Army figures onto the table. I've been waiting for some time because I've been trying to sort out scenarios for them, but I've got some bits on order, and I'll go through what they are, and I've had a little rearrange of the list. So what I'm going to drop is I'm going to drop one of the units of auxiliaries. So that will just give me 1 forward deploying unit, and that'll be probably about 6 of them in that unit. And I've bought the snipers in ghillie suits. So I'm going to paint those up, and they'll be my auxiliary saboteurs assassins unit. To replace the other unit, I'm going to have a unit of commandos, because 1940, end of 1940, beginning of 41, the commandos were established and they were trained up to be used. Didn't actually fight until later, but they were ready to go. So a unit of commandos coming in. I've got my Blacker Bombard, that's arrived, along with the ghillie suited snipers, so that's all okay. Gary from Paint and Glue is printing me my Rolls-Royce armoured car, and he's also printing me a A9 cruiser tank. So I think they're done. I think they should be in the post fairly soon to me, which is good, because I can't drive out anywhere. I'm now 1 week post-op, and the arm's still poorly, a little bit poorly, but hopefully it'll pick up, and can't drive at the moment. So bit of a shame. But yeah, those are those troops on order. I've got the 25 pounder to put together. That's all already. Just got to glue it together, prime it up. So a few bits to paint before November for the army, but we're getting there. Anyway, on the final note of Captain Melchett and his Boy Scout guide, they did die. Long range shot, and Colin rolled 2 6s to kill them. So that was a bit of a shame. Anyway, hope you enjoyed my ramblings and the video. Speak to you soon, and hope to get another one up at some stage once my arm is up and running. So, take care. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit the like button if you like. And any questions, stick them below. So, until the next time.